G'day, I'm Sharon and welcome. Today I'm going to show you how to thread a Janome 204D. The machine is actually on its last legs and won't operate, but I can show you how to thread it. I'll lift the guides up, and to dechain I actually want to remove all of these threads, so I'm just going to cut them off and take them out at the back. If you're inexperienced with overlockers or sergers, at this point you will probably think that if the foot's up and I pull on this, I'd be able to get it out, but I can't. And that's because the needle threads are doing things together with the looper threads down underneath, and I need to do what's called dechaining to get them so that they're not interfering with each other. To do this, I wind the flywheel, which is here on the right, backwards 2 whole stitches. So the needles are up at the moment, I go down, up, down, up. At that point I have unknotted them, and now when I pull on that, they come out. We're going to start by putting the threads at the back, and I'm going to use the same threads that the machine indicates on its colour chart and all of its coloured bits and pieces. Bring your thread from the back to the front through the open loop. You don't need to worry about the other hole in this guide. You only really would ever need to use that perhaps on this one if you were doing something where you were trying to make a very springy rolled hem. I haven't got this up as high as it can go because of where I'm trying to film at the moment, but you would usually have this telescoped out as far as it can go. So bring each of the 4 threads from the back to the front. The next guide is this bar. Take the thread down through the coloured marked 2 dots, the one on the left, up and over and down the one on the right. And then we do exactly the same thing for the remaining 3 threads. Down on the left, up and over, and down on the right. And now we're going to start doing these in order. If you look at the threading guide in your machine, it says 1, 2, 3, 4. You have to thread in that order. If you're having trouble with the lower looper thread breaking, about every 3 or 4 inches you rethread it, and then it breaks again, and then you rethread it and it breaks again, so it keeps doing the same thing. Please check out my video on thread breaking repeatedly. It's an easy fix, and it's actually a threading order thing. So now I am following where the green thread has to go. That's the one that's marked as 1, so that's the one I'm going to do first. Take the green thread from the left to the right through the guide, and then clockwise around the tension disc and up over the hook that is on the left. It always makes sense to grab the 2 ends of the thread after they've been through a tension disc and pull on them to make sure they're properly bedded down. The tension disc can have the thread just sitting at the edge of it, and when you pull on it, it beds it properly down into those discs. The next green point is down here. I go from right to left. There are 2 holes here. Go through them one at a time. It is usually easiest to use tweezers. We're now up to these parts of threading the lower looper. Open your machine on the left and take that thread through and out on the right. So it's just loose in there to start with. The next piece we want to go through is this one. One hand on the thread behind that and one hand in front. Bring it underneath and press up. This is a looper threader. It's a small wire, the little plastic handle and a hook on the end of it. There are 2 ways to thread the next part of the machine, either with a looper threader or without. I will show you first how to do it without and then with the looper threader. If you do not have a looper threader, roll the machine forward until you can see the small hole there with a piece of green underneath it. Put the thread through that hole and try to get a couple of inches through. Maybe 5 centimetres if you can. Even more if possible. Because next we turn the machine, and when we roll the machine forward, there is that thread, and we pull it through. If you have a looper threader, run the looper threader down the front of the looper. There's a groove in it. Run the threader down there, and then catch the thread in the hook on the looper threader and pull it back. Whichever way you did that, you should now have the thread through that little hole and out to the right. Wind your looper so that there's nothing behind it, and then use your tweezers to go through the hole. You need to get the thread, and this is impossible for me to show you here. This is a knife. You would normally have a foot here. Bring the thread down between the foot and the knife, and then out to the left, and that's your lower looper done. Now we're going to do the upper looper, which is this red one. We go from the centre out, so from the right to the left, come around to the tension disc. We go clockwise around the tension disc, up and over the hook on the left. Through this guide, from the right to the left, this one we go under and up. We have now made it all the way down to here on the thread guide. The next bit doesn't actually show up very well. It is in fact that wire there. So we're going to take the red thread and go through that wire by taking the thread to the back of the wire and over to the left. Now I've taken the blade out of the machine so you can see a bit better. The thread then goes through the eye of the looper from the front to the back. And then it would come down between the foot and the blade and out to the left. Most of this part of the threading I will be showing you on a 204D, but the final bit of doing the needles I'll do on a slightly different machine. The blue one, we come clockwise around the tension disc, hold above and below and pull in, and I would suggest you do that with all of these to make sure that they are properly in the tension discs. We're then coming under this guide, then up over the top, and then we're going for the guide on the right, so we go from the centre out to the right, and then there is a guide above the needles. The needle needs to be threaded from the front to the back. I'm going to use a needle threader for it. If you don't know how to use one of these, I do have a video on how it's done. I take the thread down between the foot and the blade and over to the left. Finally, the yellow one under. Once again, grab hold of both and pull it in, up over the top, and then centre out and through the guide that would be just above the needles. You will notice that the machine says use only HA1SP needles, number 11 to 14. This means ballpoint needles. That is what this machine is designed for. And the groove is running down the front of the needle. And that thread goes the same place as all the others, between the blade and the foot and out to the left. Before I actually try to start sewing, I will hold the 4 threads together out at the left of where the needles are and give each of them a tug up towards the top to make sure that everything is properly bedded down into all the places where it's supposed to be in the machine threading. Assuming your machine has got nothing wrong with it, at this stage I would be holding those threads and hand winding a few stitches through to make sure it's chaining on the chaining pins, and then put the plug in and off you go. You should be fine. I've made a playlist of my other videos that will be relevant to the 204D. So although I'm not showing them on your machine, they are things that will work with your machine. I hope you have fun with it, and I shall see you next time.